Hey, good morning, traders. Today is July 25th, 2025. My name is John Carignan. I am the lead instructor here at the BYOB Trading Room. This is the day trading service for the hit and run candlesticks family. I want to thank everybody out there in podcast land, digital land, cyber land. Thank you so much for following me. Thank you so much for liking my content. Thank you so much for sharing my content. Thank you, Kathy, Roasted, Sarah, and Bob Jordan, and everybody else out there that helped share and spread the word. Thank you so much. I want to let everybody know this Tuesday, Hit and Run Candlestick's going to have an open house, July 29th, 2025. All right, starts at 8:45. All right, Rick comes on with a live opening about what the market's doing, what it was doing, what it's likely to do, and then he starts his day off sharing entries, exits, and management. All right, picking out different products that he likes to trade, looking for bullish markets, and just showing you where to put your stop loss, different strategies that will help you succeed. Hey, good morning, Chip. All right, so that's open house for hit and run candlesticks. By the way, okay, if you get your smartphone, you can put your camera on your smartphone and scan this link right here, this QR code, right in the white box, okay? And that will drive you right to a link that opens up a page to register for the open house, okay? Entry to the open house is no charge. It's free, okay? But you do need to register to get in there, okay? I will provide a link in the description as well. You will see that there. If you just scroll down and look at the underneath the video, you will see there's a place where you select more, and it will open up a whole lot of script underneath there. And in that script will be the open house link so that you can get registered, okay? So hit and run candlesticks this Tuesday, all right, July 29th, 2025, okay? Got an open house in the hit and run candlesticks. All right. My SPY pivot this morning, 635.10. Above it, I'm a bull. Below it, I'm a bear. All the Fab 5 still in daily uptrends. FNGU, SPY, and QQQ made new all-time highs yesterday. IWM made a lower low and a lower high, closing inside a bullish trap over the rising 17 EMA. SPY closed with a 2-hour uptrend and a 10-minute downtrend. Diamond Dow made an inside day. It's a lower high and a higher low, closing inside a bullish trap but over the 17. Silver, still in an uptrend, made a lower low and a lower high, closing inside a bullish trap over the rising 17. Gold, still in an uptrend, made a lower high and a lower low, closing under a bullish trap but over the 17 EMA. USO, still in an uptrend. USO made a higher low and a higher high, closing over a bullish cross and over the 17 EMA. UNG, still in a downtrend, made a lower high and a lower low. I'm pretty sure, no, made a higher low and a higher high. Okay, UNG made a higher low and a higher high, closing under a bearish trap and under the 17 EMA. US dollar index still in a downtrend, closed near the 97.47 area. SPY max pain is 631 with a put to call ratio of about 3.9 puts to each call that expires today. Okay, so we definitely have a put squeeze on the table today. All right, let me just say, if they lose the 10-minute uptrend from the gate, all right, that will give them a way out. All right, so they got to keep the pressure on right from the beginning and keep pushing and pushing higher if they want to squeeze those puts. All right, if they lay off the gas and let a drop back to VWAP or a drop underneath VWAP, that will give the puts a way out. and it will probably negate all of the power that could be in a put squeeze, all right? Because that gives them a chance to double down and get out at break even, all right? So they need to keep the pressure on if they're going to have the put squeeze, all right? We got some more products here that are starred. That means they're in little launch pads being constructed, all right? And some of them are familiar. The one from yesterday, which was, I think it was MBLY. It had a star next to it. I can just look right now. And look for the 24th. 24th. Yeah, MBLY had a breakdown yesterday, okay? So we'll take this, move this over to the side. All right, and let's look at a few charts here that have, if you like to swing trade, that have some launch pads that are being constructed. All right, we'll start off with the first one. We'll go to the daily chart. First one we'll start with is FIVE. FIVE. Okay, you can see you've got a brick of candles up here. Okay, so you can see price right up here. Green erases red up over whatever that number is, 140.87. All right, looks like a breakout to the upside. So 5, constructing another launch pad. TNGX, constructing another launch pad right up here. Green erases red, right over 701. So over 701, you got a green erases red. Look for a blast off on that one. Next one, EYE. EYE, constructing a launch pad right through here. Again, we're looking for EYE to blast up over. See that launch pad to get up over whatever that number is, 25.53. Next one, Joby got a new launch pad. Joby built a new launch pad right up here, looking for green erases red. All right, up over 1786. So up over 1786, looking for a blast off up over 1786. BBAI. Constructing a launch pad right up here. And you can see that's kind of a big one. Right there, okay, and you're going to get green erases red, all right, up over 840, all right, up over 840. UUU was on there, and they had a breakout of their launch pad. That was on there from yesterday, and you can see here's the breakout for the UUU. All right, constructing the launch pad, there's the breakout right there. COGT. COGT got another launch pad getting constructed up here, and I would want price up over 1285. Make it 1285 right up there for COGT. Two more got MP. Okay, MP got a launch pad getting constructed up here. All right, and I would want price up over 63.82. Okay, up over 63.82 up there. Actually, 63.90. 63.90. And that would be a breakout for the launch pad on MP. Last one, CRISP. And for CRISP, I would want to see a breakout up over whatever this number is right here, 69. Breakout up over 69. All right, there's some, if you want to put alerts in on those. All right. And the last one for the bearish side, STWD. STWD. All right, we have a downward launch pad right here. And I would want to see red erase green underneath 1965. So underneath 1965. MBLY, okay, that was on our bearish, and you can see they gapped up and they lost it all, and they broke through the platform right here. Okay, so we had a platform down here, and you can see they blasted through. Okay, so MBLY was on the bearish side for a blast through the bottom side of that platform that they were constructing right there. Okay, so those are all swing trades. And if you ever wonder what the star means, that's what it means. They're either building a platform if they're bearish, or they're building a launch pad if they're bullish. Okay, you can see the stars right there. Okay, those are the ones I like to concentrate. Everything in here is in a uptrend. Everything in here is in a downtrend. Okay, so if you want it to be delta neutral because you got a lot of products going long, these would be products to go short. That way, when price pulls back, you'd have something that goes up in value. In other words, puts on one of these, all right, would go up in value as price dips on these bearish stocks. As the price dips on your bullish stocks, you will lose value, but you would gain value in these going further down. Okay, that's a way of getting delta neutral, having as much on the bearish side as you do on the bullish side. Right now, I'm leaning on the bullish side because all the markets are bullish at this time. All right, so I have some D-nut, that's Krispy Kreme calls right there. All right, got 5 of those. I've got some TSM, bullish credit spread, debit spread, bullish debit spread on TSM, Taiwan Semiconductor. Got a couple of Broadcom, underwater on those. Got a couple of Marvell, all right, underwater. Got a couple of those. Got some Intel, not looking good on the Intel right there. And I have a lot of SPY, all right, for the future, again, because I think SPY is going to head up to 650, all right? And it's been inching its way closer and closer day by day. All right, let's take a look at SPY. All right, you can see on the daily chart, new all-time high for SPY. All right, so it doesn't get any better than that. New all-time high, drop the mic. Just doesn't get any better than that. That's SPY on the daily chart. On the weekly, in an uptrend, you can see the 3 EMA up over the 8 EMA, up over the rising. See the 17, the green dots. Weekly uptrend. Daily chart, look at all the green dots. Daily uptrend, okay? Monthly chart. Look at all the green dots. Monthly uptrend, okay? On SPY, weekly, monthly, daily uptrend. 2-hour chart, okay? Look at all the green dots. 2-hour uptrend. Okay, see the 3 EMA up on top of the 8 EMA. We have a 2-hour uptrend. And what do I like? I like a 10-minute uptrend over VWAP that happens to be inside of the 2-hour uptrend, which happens to be inside the daily uptrend, inside the weekly uptrend, inside the monthly uptrend. Green dots are the 17 EMA, yes. All right, so price, I want a 10-minute uptrend, inside a 2-hour uptrend, inside a daily uptrend, inside a weekly uptrend, inside a monthly uptrend. Okay, I want all the wind in my sails pushing my product higher and higher. Okay, that's what I want to see. That's my favorite scenario. And then when all of that is up over the prior all-time high anchored VWAP or the all-time high anchored VWAP, that's a bullish outlook. Okay, you can see price action. All right, it's doing one of my one of my favorite behaviors. Okay, my favorite behavior to watch for is price moves up and then over to the right. That is a bullish behavior. Okay, that I like that. That's like moving up and then planking. Well, you got 3 candles here, 6 hours. Okay, it's like planking. That takes an incredible amount of strength to move up and hold that higher ground for 6 hours straight. Okay, so you can see they're planking for 6 hours. So there's SPY on the 2-hour chart in a 2-hour uptrend. On the daily chart, okay, let's take, no, the 10-minute chart. Left off with a 10-minute downtrend, all right? I'd be looking for a continuation of the 10-minute downtrend. I would want something that doesn't have more tail like this candle here than body and wick. All right, I want it to be a red candle because I want it to show me that the bears are still in control of this 10-minute downtrend, okay? Are they in control of all this price action? Heck no, all right? But they are in control of this 10-minute downtrend underneath VWAP. All right, so I'd be looking for a continuation of that. So I'd need to see some red candles, all right? I need to see something that shows me a whole lot of red body in there. Nothing with more wick than body and tail. I don't want any dojis, any spinning tops, any upside down swords, okay? I don't want any of that, okay? Because dojis and spinning tops represent mainly bulls and bears agreeing on price. The upside down sword kind of represents, well, price went down and then the bulls pushed it way back up. Okay, so I want red candles, all right, that are obviously bearishly being controlled, all right? That's what I'm looking for, all right? Now we're gapping up this morning, and there's a put squeeze on the table, all right? Because we looked at, well, max pain, all right? So max pain is down here, but yet put squeeze on the table. We'll see what happens, all right? Right now, we're kind of right here at the midpoint, right on VWAP, right here, all right? So that's what we got in SPY right now. So it's very possible that there is no continuation to the downtrend, all right? If they happen to pull off a downtrend and come back and hit this line right here, all right, or do the gap fill thing, all right, and then bounce away, be careful for that. Okay, they could do the gap fill thing, or they could hit this line, either one, or they could hit this base and then bounce back in the other direction. All right, so there's SPY on the 10-minute chart, looking for a continuation of the 10-minute downtrend. Okay, let's take a look at the game plan. Okay, we'll see what happens. SPY pivots 635.10, above it I'm a bull, below it I'm a bear. So move this down here. Okay, we have a green erases red entry over 636. We have a red erases green entry under, something's wrong here, 634.25. Okay, a red erases green underneath 634.25. Green erases red over 636. Okay, I like 7 days till expiration Friday options on the multiple of 5. I like them $5 to $15 out of the money. All right, that way I'm not putting up a whole lot of risk. All right, if you want, I won't get as much performance, but I will be giving up a lot of risk. And who wants to add more risk to their portfolio? Okay, so I'll be giving up some risk because these are cheaper when they're out of the money. Okay, you're not going to get the movement that you would on an in the money 0 DTE option. Okay, shorter time in the money is going to give you almost penny for penny performance. All right, if you have 0 DTE in the money options, there tend to be work penny for penny in the positive direction. You're going to pay up more for those, all right, but you're going to get better performance. All right, I like 10-minute uptrends over VWAP. I like it when price and the trap, that's the 3/8 trap, is breaking away from VWAP. All right, I like 10-minute downtrends under VWAP, and I like it when price and the trap are breaking away from VWAP. Okay, yesterday all we did was trade this, all right, from the low up to the high, the low up to the high, the low back to the high, and then we rolled over right there. I didn't trade any downtrends. All right, I only traded the 10-minute uptrend up there, and then they bounce off of, you can see gap fill area right here, back up to there, and another bounce off the midpoint or VWAP back up to there. That's it. That's all I traded yesterday. Okay, there wasn't much. All right, now look at what happened yesterday. That's bullish for price to move up like this and hold this higher ground. Okay, that's bullish. All right, that's a whole lot of consolidation, almost 6 hours, 6.5 hours of consolidation, and then some. Okay, I'd be looking for price to move up today, possibly. We'll see what happens. There's no guarantees. I don't always get what I want. We'll see what happens. All right, I'm looking for price to move up. Let's take a look at QQQ. QQQ got a game plan as well. All right, QQQ pivot is 565.10. Above it, I'm a bull. Below it, I'm a bear. Red erases green underneath 564.25. Green erases red over 566.20. I like the same options. All right, I like 7 days till expiration. Friday options on the multiple of 5. Okay, I like them $15 out of the money. All right, I like 10-minute, same thing. I like 10-minute uptrends over VWAP. I like 10-minute downtrends under VWAP. If a 10-minute uptrend happens to manifest down here over VWAP, if it happens to manifest down here over VWAP that breaks a rubber band candle, I'd be highly interested in trading that 10-minute uptrend, okay? Long before it even hits the green erases red entry up here over 566.20. All right, same thing. If a 10-minute downtrend happens to manifest up here, I may trade it. Remember, all of the bigger time frames are bullish. I'm not crazy about going counter trend. I'd rather wait for the 10-minute uptrend and trade that. But there'll be times when price gets extended, and I would be interested in trading a 10-minute downtrend under VWAP that breaks the rubber band candle or passes through the pivot and happens to manifest up here long before the red erases green entry down here. Okay, QQQ, just want to share that. Okay, now keep in mind, okay, I'm not against trading zero DTEs. I will trade some zero DTEs once in a while. All right, but there's a time and a place for that for me. For me, the sweet spot happens to be between $30 and $1.50. Okay, when they're that way, I can pretty much defend them, and I can get, I can pretty much stock up on some options that have a high likelihood of moving. Okay, for me, that's the sweet spot. I can defend that. All right, again, between 30 cents per share, all right, and $1.50 per share. Okay, usually when they get up over $2, I start to roll them out and pick out either a higher strike or a more time frame. Okay, that's what I like. That's my preference. All right, that's just for me. You can have your own preference. All right, you don't have to trade zero DTEs. Okay, just because I trade it doesn't mean you have to trade it. And just because I'm saying I like them 7 to 14 days Friday options on the multiple of 5, okay? $5 to $15 out of the money. That means I'm telling you that's what I like, all right? If I had a small account and I was just beginning to get into gaming trading some options, all right, for these 10-minute uptrends, all right? I'm just saying that I'm not against trading zero DTEs, but make sure that you understand the nature of the beast if you're going to trade some zero DTEs. All right, they're not that. Sometimes they got big $2, $3 moves. All right, that's not friendly to a small account. All right, if you've got 10 options and they happen to move and they happen to be in the money zero DTE options, all right, and you get penny for penny performance and those things move $2 in one candle, all right, your account's going to go down by $2,000. Okay, so be aware of how they work and how they move before you dive into them. I always ask people, if you're not making money, you need to stop trading real money and pick up a paper account and figure it out. Get some help. By the way, talking about getting help, all right, I offer my services, free 15-minute coaching, all right, from me for my members, all right, free 15-minute coaching. All you got to do is contact me on Teams, and I'll drop the link right in the description there, and it's pretty much copied to clipboard. Okay, this is me. If you want to contact me on Teams, right there. Okay, let me know who you are, because I get a lot of unsolicited, how do I say it, attention. All right, so tell me who you are, and you're in the BYOB Trading Room. This is my moniker. This is my name. I'd like to set up a time. Okay, there you go. So there's QQQ. Let's take a look at QQQ on the daily chart. Okay, you can see new all-time high yesterday for QQQ. Drop the mic. It doesn't get any better than that. All right, FNGU. New all-time high on FNGU. Okay, doesn't get any better than that. All right, that's FNGU. IWM. Remember, IWM put in a new rally high yesterday. Not yesterday, but the day before. So yesterday was a lower high and a lower low, and we closed inside a bullish trap over the rising 17. All right, you can see price action moving up, holding the higher ground, doing the right stuff. This is exactly what I like to see. That is a bullish behavior. Okay, IWM still in the upper third. Okay, anywhere up here in the upper third is bullish. IWM still in an uptrend. Okay, it's got some lows. All right, we got some highs, higher highs. So that's an uptrend right there on IWM. So uptrend and for IWM. Let's take a look at Diamond Dow. All right, Diamond Dow having a breakout on the launch pad here. All right, you can see they move up. All right, and they build a launch pad, and then they launch. And now they're going to build another launch pad, and you can see them beginning to launch again. Okay, Diamond Dow has not made new all-time highs, but what they did do, not yesterday but the day before, is make a new rally high. Remember, this is the rally that originated from way back in April. That's a new rally high on Diamond Dow. Okay, so there's price action up there for yesterday, looking like an inside day, so that's a lower high and a higher low, closing inside a bullish trap over the rising 17. That's a green dots EMA over the rising 17. That's bullish, up, holding that higher ground and breaking out the higher highs up over all-time high anchored VWAP. Okay, they are very close, like $3, $4, $5 to taking out the all-time highs right here. Okay, they're really close. Okay, the all-time highs are back right there. Okay, they're really close to getting that done. So there's Diamond Dow on the daily chart. Okay, that's bullish and in an uptrend. All right, let's take a look at technicals, T21, 22. All right, we look at it on the 15-minute chart. You can see we came out of the overbought zone, spent half the day in the buy zone, the other half of the day in the buyer's chop zone, not making a lower low. This would be the low to take out, and they did not make a lower low, looking for price to reverse and come back up here into the buy zone and the overbought zone, maybe near the second half of the day. That's T21.22. Again, that's what I'm hoping for. Doesn't mean that that's what's going to happen. Okay, T21.22, T21.23. Okay, new rally high for T21.23. Okay, haven't seen these highs in a long, long time. Okay, new rally high for T21.23 15-minute. Okay, you got a low, you got a higher low. Okay, you got a high, you got a higher high, and an even higher high. So that's an uptrend. It's up over the 200 SMA. That's bullish. All right, making a new rally high. That's awesome. All right, so that's bullish and in an uptrend. 3-bar chart. Okay, you can see we have to deal with this consolidation right over here. Okay, so we got to deal with that low, that high, and that high. After we take those three out, all we got left is the all-time high. Now, I really think, all right, T2123 is going to make a new all-time high. All right, I can't see him coming all this way and not make a new all-time high. All right, they're doing a whole lot of work. I cannot see them doing that without making a new all-time high. And again, it might happen, but I don't think so. All right, if they're able to cut through this consolidation, I genuinely believe they're going to make a new all-time high up here, T2123 on the 3-bar chart. Okay, you can see price action. It's got a low. All right, they made a higher low. See the red candle? See the red dots? See the red dots? So red dots. There's a higher low. All right, so there's a couple of highs here, and they made a higher high. So that's an uptrend. All right, on the 3-bar chart, and it's bullish. All right, because price moves up and holds the higher ground. It moves up and holds the higher ground, and then moves up and holds the higher ground and breaks out. Okay, that's all bullish right there. That's in an uptrend. Okay, you can see price up over the hooking 200 SMA and above the 2 prior all-time highs right there. Let's take a look at FNGU. Okay, now we watch FNGU because it's got only 10 securities in this ETN. All right, and those 10 securities happen to be some of the 10 of the most weighted securities in QQQ and SPY. When these 10 move as a pack, they tend to pull the indexes right along with them. So you can see here's price action, all right, in the recent days, moves up and then holding the higher ground up here. Okay, that is a bullish environment. That is a bullish behavior. Okay, let's look at what they did for price action yesterday. Okay, you can see buying from the beginning of the day, a continuation of that 10-minute uptrend that left off from the day before, buying from the beginning of the day all the way until the end of the day and holding the higher ground up here. Okay, you can see price action makes a new rally high, actually a new all-time high right there on FNGU. All right, that's bullish. Price is on top of the flat 200 SMA. That's bullish up there. Okay, FNGU. All right, again moving up, holding the higher ground. That's bullish. That's showing you strength. Okay, if they don't leave after 5-6 days, all right, chances are they're committed to making a higher high of some sort, or at least testing the high. All right, if they move up this far and they hold for more than 5 or 6 days, probably being committed to making a higher high. All right, another bullish behavior, another bullish environment that I like to look for is consolidation over prior consolidation. Okay, and you can see here we have consolidation. Then we have consolidation over prior consolidation. See that? And then, oh my gosh, look what we got. More consolidation over prior consolidation. See, this would be prior. This is the newest one. And then we've got, again, look at this. This is crazy. More consolidation over prior consolidation. Okay, this is a bullish environment. This is a bullish environment and a behavior. This is a bullish environment and behavior. Okay, this usually leads to, okay, another move higher. All right, not saying it's going to happen, but it usually leads to that. Okay, you're getting a lot of bullish behavior here. So there's FNGU on the 15-minute chart. This is bullish and in an uptrend. All right, let's take a look at a few sectors. Let's go back to that chart right there. And we're on the dailies. Take a look at XLE. This is energy. Energy not in the lower third, not in the upper third. Okay, if it's in the lower third, down here, okay, this is bearish. Okay, upper thirds up here, this is bullish. Okay, in the middle, that's neutral. All right, so this is neutral right through here, moving back and forth inside of this. Okay, XLE's in an uptrend. All right, they're making lows. There's a low there. There's some higher lows. See the higher lows? And they're making higher highs. Believe it or not, this one is a higher high right there. So they're in an uptrend, but they're still in the neutral land. All right, you can see price action for yesterday. Higher low, higher high, closing over a bearish trap. That's bullish. Over the 17, that's bullish. Okay, over downtrend line 1 and 2, bullish. But underneath all-time high anchored VWAP, neutral. Okay, so they're just neutral in here. Again, they go up. Okay, price goes up and gives it up. That's neutral. Price goes down and gives it up. That's neutral. All right. You go up and you hold. That's bullish. You move down and you hold. That's bearish. Okay. You go up. You give it up and more. That's bearish. Okay. So there's XLE. Just neutral, but in an uptrend. All right, let's go take a look at UNG. All right, UNG showing you a head and shoulders pattern. Here's a triple top crown right there. That's the head. Okay, we've got a double top right shoulder right here. Top 1, top 2. Okay, we've got a double top left shoulder right here. Top 2, top 1. Okay, you can see we got a neckline right through here that was just recently challenged. They could not close candles over the neckline. Okay, and they broke through the neckline. And you can see UNG in that head and shoulders pattern. UNG's in a downtrend, obviously. Okay, you've got some highs, you got lower highs. See all the lower highs? Okay, and you've got lower lows. See the lows? Okay, so there's a low. There's 4 lower lows. Okay, there's a lower low, another lower low, and an even lower low. Okay, so that's a downtrend. You're down here in quadrant 1. Okay, so this is anything down here. This is the bearish section. Okay, that is the all-time low right over here. Okay, this is the all-time low right here. You can see we're looking for the right arm to extend down to where the left arm left off and test that area. That would be a test of the all-time lows right there on UNG. Okay, this is bearish. It's in a downtrend. It's under this 18-month high anchored VWAP. It's down here in quadrant 1. It's bearish down here. Okay, you can see price action yesterday. Looks like a higher low and a higher high closing over a bullish trap, but closing under a bearish trap and under the 17 EMA. Both of those are bearish. All right, Alan, thank you for sharing the durable goods. I'm just going to read them off to you. I'm going to move this out of the way. All right, new orders expected was minus 1.3% to minus 8%. Okay, we're at minus 9, so well within the range. X transportation month over month. Okay, expected range was minus 0.6 to positive 0.2. Okay, we were positive 0.2. Okay, on core capital goods, positive 0.1 to positive 0.2. We were at negative 0.7. Okay, now I don't know if they're measuring inflation or just the goods orders. Okay, so core capital goods, if that's minus 0.7 and they're measuring durable good orders, that went down. That's not good. All right, being new orders is on the better side of the range. They were expecting minus 13%. We only got minus 9%. Okay, and X transportation was not bad month over month. That was 0.2. That was well within, not well within, but within the consensus range there. All right, so there's our durable goods. All right, let's take a look at GLD. UNG bearish and in a downtrend, head and shoulders pattern. GLD, gold. All right, again, bullish and in an uptrend. Moving up, holding the higher ground. That's bullish. Okay, in an uptrend. Top of quadrant 4. All right, that's bullish. Anything up over this upper third, that's bullish and in an uptrend, making higher lows and higher highs. Silver made a new 13-year high. Yes, not yesterday, but the day before. Again, silver cooling off just a little bit. Lower high, lower low, closing inside a bullish trap, but over the rising 17 EMA. Top of quadrant 4, that's bullish and in an uptrend. Okay, got some lows. See a higher low. You got some highs. You got a new 13-year high. Okay, so that's an uptrend on silver. Let's take a look at a few sectors. SMH, all right. SMH up in quadrant 4, bullish and in an uptrend. XLK. XLK, bullish and in an uptrend. Top of quadrant 4. Okay, nothing's been destroyed here. Bullish and in an uptrend. XLF. Okay, XLF put in new all-time high yesterday on XLF. Okay, now those of you that listen to me know that I said long before the financials started to report that the market better be impressed with the financials and the financials better be doing good. Why? Because the market's at new all-time highs. Okay, so if you're in investment banking, all you got to do is follow the trail of big money and ride the coattails. That's it. All right? And then you make money. That's exactly how it works, okay? So if you're in investment banking, you're facilitating, okay, all of the orders and the market movements, all right? So if you can't make new all-time highs, all right, there's a problem in management. And you can see here's price action making new all-time highs in the XLF. Okay? Thank God. All right? So there's XLF. That's bullish and in an uptrend. Well, new all-time high. Okay? Drop the mic. It doesn't get any better than that. All right? Let's take a look at IYT. All right? IYT in the upper third. That's bullish and in an uptrend. Okay, so they're holding, again, another one that's holding the higher ground. Okay, and up over the all-time high anchored VWAP. Up here in quadrant 4, that's bullish. All right, let's take a look at the economic package. All right, on the US dollar still in a downtrend. Okay, at a 3-year low right now. Broke through major support. That was all of this consolidation through here. Okay. Closed near the 97.47 area yesterday and still making lower highs and lower lows. Okay, cheap dollar. It's not great for consumers, okay, because it means your money doesn't go as far. But for the investor, it's awesome because that means that more than likely that these people are selling the same goods and services at a higher price point, which brings in more revenue on the top line, which should transcend to more profits on the bottom line, which should equal to higher earnings per share, which then causes the market to want to pay more for that product. All right? Because they're making more profits per share. Their profits are growing. All right? The market loves that. All right? And they're willing to pay up for it. And hence, that's why the market's hitting new all-time highs. Okay? Again, for the consumer, the weak dollar sucks. But for the investor, all right, this opens up brand new markets around the globe. All right? Because you got a weaker dollar. Now people, some of the foreign countries can afford to purchase our goods and services. All right? Because they're not as expensive as they were before. All right, so there's U.S. dollar index. on max pain for today. 631 is max pain. Put to call ratio is 3.85 puts for each call. That expires today at 4:15. All right, so there's a put squeeze on the table. Again, if they allow price to pull back to VWAP, all right, in other words, if they give them an opportunity to double down and get out at a break even, it will negate the put squeeze, okay? They have to apply the pressure from minute 1 all the way up until noon or 1 o'clock, causing them extreme pain, and that will cause them to have to cover and catapult price higher. All right, so just saying, even though max pain is 631, all right, they may go after the puts and calls. All right, on the economic calendar, we got durable goods coming out today at 8:30. I just shared that. Rig count at 1. The main event this week was Wednesday night Google earnings. Okay, today nothing here that's going to move the market. Just some familiar names. All right, but nothing here that's going to rock and roll or manipulate and move the markets. Okay, so there's on the earnings calendar. Did the economic calendar. We did max pain. We did the dollar. All right, that's it for me. Let's take a look at the pre-market. And let's come up with a little plan here for SPY. All right, I'm going to pick up on the 5. I'm going to add the pre-market to it. And which one do I want? I want that one right there. And I want this one right here, okay? What is price doing? See this? It's a move up. That's consolidation over to the right. Price is winding up. Okay, this is price coiling up. Now, it could be a move higher, could be a move lower, all right? But notice, after the triple top performance from yesterday's 10-minute time frame, they're not leaving the area, all right? They're not leaving the area after the triple top on the 10-minute time frame from yesterday. Okay, what does that say to me? They're committed because they want to make a higher high. Again, 655 is my target on the upside. That's my first target for SPY. Not going to get there today, okay? But eventually, I think we go up to 655. All right, so there's the 10-minute chart. Up and over to the right. Okay, we're going to mark off the highs and the lows. All right, so we'll take a zoom in here, all right, on this pre-market. All right, I'll be looking for a breakout over the highs to play bullish and a breakout below the lows to play bearish. Okay, so I'd mark off both sides. Okay, I would also mark off the first 15 minutes of trading and create an open range box. Okay, this would be a post-market, pre-market range box. Okay, I'd be looking for the breakout of that on the upside or the downside. And then I would also mark off an opening range box, which includes 3 5-minute candles, marking off the top and the bottom of that range, looking for a breakout of the opening range box, and then trading on the side of whichever side bursts the top of the box or the bottom of the box. Okay, come again, max pain. Max pain is 631, which is well below 635. Okay, there's 3.85 puts for each call, so there's a put squeeze on the table. If they allow price to come down, they will work in favor of the puts and allow them a way out. So they have to start from minute 1 and apply bullish pressure, not allowing the puts to double down and get out. Okay, they have to apply pressure right from the beginning. All right, so there's SPY on the 10-minute chart. All right, we're going to mark off the first 15 minutes and trade the break of the opening range. We're going to mark off the pre-market and the post-market and trade the break of the pre-market, post-market range, okay? We have a 10-minute downtrend. We are looking for a continuation of that. There's no guarantees that that's going to happen. Fridays are kind of screwy sometimes. All right, the market makers are in control. They're going to decide whether they're going to go after max pain 631 or they're going to go after the put squeeze and apply the pressure bullishly all day. Okay, this is a bullish wind up right there. And you can see it just keeps inching a little higher and higher and grinding away at that overhead supply, creating that launch pad. Thank you, Jim. All right, traders, that's it for me this morning, okay? Okay, my favorite charts, 10-minute uptrend over VWAP, all right? I like it when the 10-minute uptrend breaks away from VWAP, all right? That's my favorite, like right here. See the 10-minute uptrend breaking away from VWAP. For me, that is a very tradable, profitable 10-minute uptrend. That's my favorite. That's what I trade all the time, either downtrend or uptrend. I prefer uptrend because all of the larger time frames, all right, are bullish. So if I trade a 10-minute downtrend, let me just say this, okay? I expect it to fail at any minute, all right, because the forces of nature, I'm going against the forces of nature, all right? And right now, the market is bullish, all right? Okay, you can't depend on those 10-minute downtrends, all right? So if you happen to snatch some profits on those 10-minute downtrends, just remember you were doing it at your own risk, but, you know, because we are in a 2-hour uptrend, daily uptrend, weekly uptrend, and monthly uptrend. All right, I'll see you guys in about 30 minutes, and we'll open up the market.